All right, we are live. Welcome everyone to the Derek Lambert, host of Myth Vision After Party. So far in here with us, we've got, of course, the guest of honor. Derek is with us. We have the wonderful, lovely Wonder Lady, who's also known as Faye, because that's actually her name. And we got Easeism, Ease Rock, Ease whatever you want to call him. He's here too, but he's got Pomeranians yelping like a bunch of little fur-covered footballs in the background. So, yeah. Anyway, so. Yeah, so you guys were talking, like you were saying you were calling out horseshit about some stuff in the interview. So I'm kind of curious as to what that was in regard to there.
Me too.
So.
Okay. So, like, you know how you were saying that your friend who, like, has the whole Jesus Dionysus thing, we'll get into that too later. But because I'm not letting you off that hook. But you know how, like, listening to certain explanations, if they don't agree with you, they're like lying or something. I got news. They're just not convinced that you're telling the truth. They're not willing to listen, and it's not necessarily that they're lying. It's just they're wrong.
I kind of don't understand the question exactly where I was coming at with that. If you don't mind, can you give me a little example of what you would like? Give me an example of what you're trying to come across at with that.
I just did, but okay. Do you remember talking about your friend with the diagnoses thing, and you're like, if someone's listening to us talk about it and they don't agree, you know, like they think that we're, you know, that
I know
that they're
Dennis
basically being dishonest about what you're saying or whatever. I think you said dishonest. Is it a lying? Like they don't see the truth that you're presenting to them?
Oftentimes, yeah, I think cognitive dissonance prevents people from considering evidence that might show, for example,
or at least challenge.
Yeah, I mean, the guy that you're talking about is actually a PhD, double PhD from
I don't give a shit.
Dr. Dennis R. MacDonald, and he wrote a book called The Dionysian Gospel, the fourth gospel in Euripides, and he goes to show what's called mimetic criticism, and it's showing a pattern of the Dionysian myth and Euripides the Bacchae being utilized in the Johannine tradition of the Gospels. And when he goes to show
why
it,
don't you just use Joseph Campbell and read A Hero with a Thousand Faces, which is one of the most 100 influential books of all time.
I love that book, actually.
Okay, you don't need the other one.
See, I do all of it, though. That's the thing, Faye. It's not, well, only this one book is all I'm going to read, and everyone should just follow this one thing. I'm uncovering every stone. I'm checking every theory. Like,
so why?
No, that's exactly what we're doing.
Why?
No, you're right.
That's
You're
what
right.
a
No,
person that's looking for answers should do.
Let me actually pause. Faye's right. I'm not going on a show trying to say aliens brought us here, or I'm not going on the show talking about flat Earth and how true flat Earth is. I'm not exploring those options because personally I find no reason to think those are valid.
Right.
They're more conspiratorial. So my bias says, look, I'm not going with that. I don't see the Earth as a disc. I see the Earth as a spherical object, just like I think we are evolved creatures. I don't think we were created 7,000 years ago in the same form we are today. I think we evolved from primitive previous ancestors that we would call cousins of ourselves. That, you know, all of evolution, you know, is something that I do think is true. And I don't bring on creationists. You know what I mean?
I mean, like, someone can be 100% wrong, but that doesn't mean they're being purposefully dishonest.
Yeah. That's why.
Which is why I said horseshit.
Well, no, I agree with you. I actually agree with you with that. I think that the dishonesty is being dishonest with yourself from cognitive dissonance. I wasn't telling the truth if I wasn't exploring these options. So what I'm saying is am I being honest with myself on seeking truth if I'm really not willing to consider? No, you're being dishonest with yourself if you're not willing to really look. And I think cognitive dissonance plays a role in dishonesty. That's just my opinion, but
well, I don't agree that you have to uncover every stone. Like, I want to know why that's being done.
Okay, well, uncover any stone that would be in relevance to what you're looking for.
Right. I don't think every stone's ever going to get covered by me either. I guess don't take everything I say too literally. But I do know, for me, I'm exploring large quantities of information pertaining to the theories that surround Jesus. Mythicism, did he exist? What kind of guy was he if he existed? Different common parallels between these mythologies, all that stuff. And so I'm not exploring everything. Don't take it literal. Like kind of like some people would say, or some Christians would say, well, Jesus died for everyone and all man. But what about the ones who go to hell? Did he waste that blood for them too? And some will say yes. But all I'm saying when I'm saying this is I'm exploring many options Christians are taught to avoid. They are told not to look into this because I was one. Mm-hmm. I know exactly what it's like because I was a staunch Christian. So all I could speak from is my subjective experience from the worldview of Christianity and a particular worldview, a fundamentalist, hardcore Christian who, I believe
you were a young earther too, right? So
young earther. Yes, sir. I was all sorts of different positions over time, but that's all I'm saying, Faye. And I please don't take me too literal when I say those things. I'm
good. Have a fun time with it if I want to.
No, you can have all the fun. There's people watching live. I want them to know what the context, where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I get that, but I want to know why you're exploring it.
That's a great question. I asked Dr. Price the same question, Neil. And I said, Dr. Price, why do you care? You're an atheist now. Like, why do you even explore this? And his answer was, I actually love the Bible more now than I ever did. And I said, what do you mean? For what it really is. And he says, I really like to stand for what it's really saying and try to understand what this book really meant.
But it's a mess.
It is. And
like
that's
the first
fun
two
part.
chapters in Genesis are obviously written by two different people.
Thank you. I agree. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I totally agree. And it's a mess. And I love that. Exploring the mess and figuring out how this book was really assembled, how human the book really is. Like how this is not divine, how I can find that these are just ancient people writing in a primitive time, the best answers they have from their culture and their standpoint. Like that's all it is. And I'm really trying to uncover that and explain that to a Christian who wants to argue these details and say, oh no, here's the truth. Most atheists don't go into these details. They just say stuff like, they start with science and they work on a non-biblical worldview. I'll argue within the biblical worldview in these texts and say, sorry, buddy, here's some contradictions in your text. Here's some failed prophecies. Here's why this doesn't work. Your God was condoning slavery. In Exodus, he was allowing Israelites to own Israelites. But then he changes his mind in Deuteronomy and says, sorry, Israelites cannot own Israelites. And so it's just a bunch of...
you have to take your slaves from the heathens around you at that point.
Exactly.
I think you need to talk to Jim Majors.
I'm actually... Well, then guess what? You don't have a problem with me. I just interviewed him the day before yesterday.
Oh,
me and Jim, look, I'm telling you, I'm on the same page. I promise you. I'm just a little bit stranger into wanting to get into the little knickknacks and the different things. So,
but I still, you'll forgive me. I still don't quite understand why.
I don't either. Completely. I love
interest.
Does it matter to you if Jesus was a real person or if he was a myth?
No. But it's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
Because if he was a guy, this is my speculation, if he existed, the best theory right now for me, obviously he was an apocalyptic type prophet, similar to the people in the contemporaneous time of the first century, most likely was a rebel. He was not pacifist. He was a hardcore anti-Roman in my estimation. And he thought the apocalypse was coming in, or the people who followed him thought he might have been the last prophet, if you will, before God was going to come with his angels and really wreak justice on the uncircumcised, the
Where do
heathen
you
and
get
such.
that from, though?
Second Temple literature, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and the comparison between Jesus and the comparison.
Dead Sea Scrolls are forgeries, though.
Not all.
No, dude, they've been discovered to be.
They are forgeries. Just like the Shroud of Turin is a photograph of Da Vinci.
The ones that they have here, ask Jim Majors. I think he would disagree with you. So I'll use the scholars that you're okay with to say these guys don't agree. And in fact,
what scholars I'm okay with?
Well, Jim Majors.
Don't tell me I'm okay with any of that.
Are you okay with Jim Majors?
I am, but I disagree with him.
I agree with him.
98.9%.
So we're all just agreeing to disagree. So I actually think that there are
Wow.
definitely forged Dead Sea Scroll documents, and then I also do believe there are authentic ones, which I don't know any major scholar with a PhD in the field that doesn't agree that they have found forgeries of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and they have some that are authentic, that were found in the caves of Qumran in the 1940s.
So, like a forger said, I'm going to mix these up with the genuine artifact so I can just add stuff.
From what I understand, a lot of the ones we have now that they're discovering are forgeries. So I would ask the scholar. That would be the best bet. And they're going to tell you, yeah, there's definitely a bunch of these are the forgeries, but the whole total of them, it's not all or nothing. And that's what I'm trying to say. I don't think they're all forgeries. However, we got lost on Dead Sea Scrolls. When you asked me if Jesus was a rebel, all you have to go
No,
is
I didn't ask you that.
you were
said
saying why. You said, why do you think that? And I'm saying in Acts of the Apostles, he's compared to Theodus and the Egyptian. And in Josephus and his Antiquities and Wars of the Jews, he describes Theodus and the Egyptian as military leaders that are leading a conquest where the Israelites are going to defeat the Roman Empire. And in Acts, it's really interesting. He says these movements died out, but Jesus's movement exists. He compares them to these guys. So there's lots of other pieces. Yes.
Or does he talk about just Christians? Because, like, he's not contemporary.
He isn't contemporary. Acts is written probably 2nd century, but he's also writing about things in the 1st century by saying Theodus and talking about the Egyptian, which were warlike rebels. They were Jewish rebels that were killed, and the Egyptian may have escaped, but they were defeated by the Romans. This one movement, Jesus, is compared to this Christian Jesus movement, is compared to these other movements. And there are a lot of interesting books on this. So I'm investigating that theory as well. And if he did exist, I think that one might fit the best in light of what was going on in that 70 AD, the destruction of Jerusalem, and what happened and why that's a focal point, the temple's destruction and the gospel narrative, all that. It's just an interesting topic.
Okay. I honestly, like, I know a lot of Christian, like, ex-Christians who dig into these things, and I never understand why. So
that's a good question. I mean, I like to equate it to this, and you may not agree with me, but people who have been trapped by something, like with me for addiction, I was trapped with sticking needles in my arms and doing horrible things, and I was destroying myself in the addiction I was in. I ended up making my lifestyle to try and help people who are in the same thing I was in. So maybe it has something to do with me trying to not only understand for myself, to figure out how this puzzling book I only understood in one dimension has a variety of different ways that can be understood, and maybe better understood now than I've ever understood it before, to help people who are like me, who come across my channel and say, man, I'm just like Derek. I want to know what this book's really about. What is the truth? Why are we here? What is life? All that good stuff that we always ask. And I relate to what he's saying. And I never knew that God, Yahweh, destroyed Leviathan and created the universe out of his carcass. Interesting, weird theories you don't hear anyone talk about,
Okay, I found something here. All of the Museum of the Bible's Dead Sea Scrolls,
yes,
are fake.
Yes, 100%.
The ones that are still in Jerusalem and technically owned by Israel are the authentic ones.
Yes, sir.
The ones that the Bedouins found.
I actually agree. That's what I was trying to say.
is that the one where Jesus is, like, slaying dragons as a child?
No, those are the fake ones.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff when you look at
because the ones in Israel are from the Hebrew Bible, not the New Testament stuff, and then the ones that were in the Bible Museum had some New Testament-y type information in them, but they turned out to be the bullshit ones.
Dude, you know how much money was made doing that shit? I mean,
I know.
I wish I got
millions for that.
Yes.
Because they mysteriously showed up in some market somewhere, and
Right.
the Hobby Lobby guys were like, hey, we'll buy them for like stupid amount of money, and they did, and they turned out to be fakes.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
they didn't just buy them; they were smuggling art. They were international art smugglers. They broke the law and
Didn't
they
say
ended
anything
up
about
paying
that
for it.
in the Smithsonian article I read, but didn't say anything about that. But it did say that they were found at a marketplace and purchased by these guys.
I
No,
think
they were
Faye's
art smugglers.
Yeah, I think what Faye's trying to describe here is that what happens often is
How they
people
got
are written,
there?
yes, and they'll travel. They're not supposed to travel continental wise across with this kind of stuff, and they do
Right.
all the time. Even if it's forgeries, they still are traveling with material that is supposed to be checked out or something like that. There's like a legal process behind it, and they're doing
Right.
illegal acts. So,
Right.
yeah,
That makes sense.
There was a whole like more than one article on it, and it went on and on and on.
Oh, I
And
didn't read the whole
they
thing. I
got
just read the
they got.
link to I was
Well,
looking
I
for.
was following it because I hate Hobby Lobby because they refused to like they didn't want their what do you call it, employee benefit money to go towards birth control for their female employees who weren't
Right.
Christian. Because
that's
they
crazy.
think somehow that they can say things what people do with their bodies and whether or not they reproduce and put them in like I have a shitty retail job. This is a great time to have a baby. Yay!
Oh my gosh.
Shit, I
Yeah.
thought I sent Dragon or Jason. I thought I sent him a link.
Yeah, I was wondering. Usually he'd be in the waiting area. Faye, real quick, if you don't mind me asking, Dennis R. MacDonald's theory. He
Who's
not
that?
only has a theory of Dionysus being the fourth gospel is using Dionysus Euripides, but he also has the Homeric epics, the Iliad and the Odyssey is used in Mark. Do you think all of that is wrong? Like you think he's completely off? And I know scholars that don't agree with him. I just want your opinion on it, if you don't mind.
I think it's horseshit.
What do you think What do you think the best explanation for the development of the Gospels might be?
Okay, I've said this before on like other things, so anyone who's heard me say this in repeat, it's fine. But like for the longest time, they had something called the Silk Road, and cities sprung up wherever the caravan stopped, and blah blah blah. It's very financially rewarding and can be tied to holy lands and blah blah blah. It's a long thing. Economics, economics, economics. However, they had all of these people who would congregate who were from different lands, had different religions, and basically it's like, oh well, my God, he hung himself from a tree for 3 days until he got wisdom. Well, my God sacrificed himself this way, all for my benefit, and and you have these stories converging because I think they're having a dick measuring contest on who's got the better God. And of course, it's like, oh, I heard that story. I'm going to add to it. And then these things catch on. This is just campfire pissing contests.
I actually agree. I think when in that theory, he actually goes to make
all
the point.
oral traditions back then, anyways, right?
Well, that's Neil. That's the point that Dennis is saying in his books. Is
No,
he's
that's
saying,
the part that Faye is saying because Faye knows history.
well, that's the thing. You're agreeing with the guy that you disagree with.
Artie!
You know what I mean?
No, I'm not saying I disagree with him. I'm saying it first before he is.
Well, he's already published this a long time ago. So, I mean, this is something that I'm saying he agrees with you on. So I don't know what you disagree with his theory on. Like, what is it that you think? Do you not think he created these gospel authors didn't use these books?
You asked me whether or not these things were like Dionysus, blah 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 blah. It sounds like it. What you're asking is it plagiarism?
To some degree, do you think they used these?
I'm saying it.
Yes.
It's like, did they plagiarize a little bit from Egypt? Probably. Did they?
Yep.
Like, did the Romans just plagiarize everything from the Greeks? Yes.
Right.
Yeah, nod emphatically. Yes, they did. The only thing they didn't is take their names. Hi, Artie. You look very, very wonderful with your sunglasses, by the way.
Thank goodness we finally got some gods with some scruples.
Oh, well, no, because, it's like,
I think
you've
that was
got...
the Romans' take on the... Oh,
you could sit there and say, Leda and the Swan. You can find biblical parallels for that. It's there.
I don't.
It's
there's
Dene
no
in the golden
disagreement.
shower. Woohoo!
So let me ask you this, Faye, because I'm agreeing with everything you've said so far. I think that all of these religions and cultures are utilized in these books in many ways. Do you agree that Dionysus is used? Do you agree that the Homeric epics are used? In some sense, do you think that they're utilized?
I don't know about the Homeric epics. That's the part where I sit there and go, because it's almost like Hollywood today. Like everything is Beauty and the Beast if you boil it down.
It's called
It's like-
formula. Formulaic.
I would read the
storyline.
book. I would
And
read the
all
book and then
mythologies have similar.
Well, you
formulations.
are talking to someone who's in the International English Honor Society.
I would just check out his book, and then I would love to hear your thoughts after reading
I
his
don't
book.
want to check out his book. I don't have any curiosity about it, honestly. From that point of view, if it was presented in a different way, maybe I would. But I'm not curious about religion, really. Honestly, I have no interest. I wasn't brought up with it. To me, it's Artie can tell you when people say things and they use a lot of I don't know, theological language. I'm like, what are you talking about? He can tell you. I get confused about the basic stuff. Sorry, Neil, I'll shut up.
What she tends to want to have answers to is what people think and why, rather than what about this thing is interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not offering up a defense for anything that's happened before I got here, but she does tend to only be interested in what the humans have to say rather than what the humans have to think.
Yeah, we're coming from a different angle. I think we're concluding the same things at the end of the day, that they're all human myths that are obviously. I agree with the pissing contest stuff, especially. Even the Gospels can't agree among themselves, but I like the information because that's what helped me from the worldview I was in that she didn't come from. Come out of it. It took all this stuff to see this material and go, damn. So I find it fascinating. I came from that fundamentalist angle out.
Okay, the way I look at the Bible is it's a group of rules that and different stories that are supposed to guide you. However, it can say don't murder, but then it gives you an excuse to murder, and then it can tell you not to murder and who you can murder and why you can murder and blah blah blah. It's kind of like the art of courtly love. Who you can rape and who you can't rape is in there.
Yeah.
Perfection.
And it's
you can lie.
all this
And
stuff.
if you're a prostitute, you can lie.
And you can use the Bible to justify murdering your subjects.
Wait a second. The Bible specifically say prostitutes are allowed to lie?
Well, there was one incident. I can't remember which book it's from, but there was a prostitute who was praised for her ability to pull the wool or
it was
lie,
Judah.
basically.
Yeah.
Was it Judah?
Did she fuck her stepfather or something?
Yes.
If I recall.
Yes.
Okay, because I don't remember
Lovely.
the names.
So hot.
But
It's lovely.
a lot of my questions have to do with resurrection, because people are like, oh well, he died for me and that's great. It's did he die for you, or did he just die for the people who were present?
Well, maybe
Is it really an eternal sacrifice? Because if it isn't an eternal sacrifice,
No, he gave up his
then,
weekend.
sounds like he died happy
Yeah, exactly.
at least.
right? He hasn't met you, so he's not gonna die for you, bitch. That type
He
of thing.
gave up a long 2 days, Faye. There was that whole
Well, he couldn't have
late
died.
Friday into the
It's
evening.
not possible that he died.
He broke his emery board.
Because once cell death occurs, there's no reanimating the body.
Oh,
I don't care
sure.
who you are.
you say that now.
Oh, no. I'll say that all the time.
You weren't there to see that the tomb was empty and that the stone had been moved.
Oh no, are we gonna get into that other religious book? The one that's oh, he went to France and had babies?
No, Japan now. Apparently it's Japan now.
Well, all I know
There's
is
a
it's been
lot
in
of
the United
those.
States. And Garden of Eden is in Missouri.
Missouri?
Oh
That's the
my
That was in
gosh.
upstate New
I
York.
thought it was Missouri.
Not if you live there or been there, but outside of that, sure.
I thought it was here because people here keep doing the
No,
whole
they-
incest thing, and not all of them have web fingers yet. So
No, it was Joseph Smith decided it was God, I can't remember the name of the town in
Like we take anything that guy says seriously.
well, how could you not, dude? It's not like he was convicted of. Oh, wait a minute.
No, put it
Oh
down.
man.
No, but it's like if I know I am, skeptical Sally when it comes to like shit and all. It's just when it comes to like, oh, Josephus said, it's like I don't care what he said.
Skeptical like a champion.
Well, it just doesn't make sense, half the crap. Like, if people are like, oh, well, there's a whole bunch of Christians around, it's like, yeah, and they believed in Jesus, and it's like, yeah. It's almost like saying there were a whole bunch of Romans who believed in this, I forget what they believed in, but they were the ones who used to basically flay their skin off of themselves. Oh, no, they cut off their penises in public. And then they had to, like, pass a law so they would stop chopping their dicks off in public. Because they're like, please don't do that. It's very disturbing. Mm-hmm.
The cult of Attis. They were known to do that in public, and I mean, they were willing to actually do that, actually cut their nuts off.
They weren't just willing; they did it.
Yeah.
Did it? I have no idea what you guys are talking about, so it's a legitimate question. Did size matter?
But who cares? They're cutting off their nuts.
The size of their sacrifice, or how much blood they dripped. Isn't that kind of like
God does like a big pile of shit to be lit on fire, not a small pile of shit lit on fire. He wants lots of cows and shit piled up together before you light that up. So I was just wondering if they, when they were cutting off their junk, if the temperature mattered.
Maybe, but I don't understand why
only do the sacrifice in the summer to make sure that you're not suffering from, it's cold
like,
outside.
Why do Christians think that heaven is?
It's always summer.
Cold there at night.
Well, yeah, in the desert it does. I know. I've been there.
Jason, what's up, man?
I lived there for 2
How's
years.
it going?
It's going. You see the conversation, bro.
Yeah.
So you were a Christian too, weren't you?
Yeah, I was devout, man. I was hardcore Catholic.
How?
But what did you say?
When you're raised in it, you don't know differently.
Oh yeah, I mean that was just life.
Yeah, it's not a freakish cult if you grew up thinking that that was okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Didn't communion ever like squick you? Come on, you're eating someone.
Oh, I mean that was just normal. That was just Sunday. It was part of it. That's
but
how
you're not allowed to eat anyone around you.
Well, you're not allowed to get caught.
You don't look at your friends.
Yeah, obviously.
It's like, why is it okay that the best person that you were supposed to love is someone that you're supposed to consume weekly? Like, how does that mental bridge get jumped?
Never ever considered it that way until at least college, and maybe not until after I had outed myself as an atheist. Just never really. Actually, wait a minute. No, it was Eddie Izzard that pointed out that the Christianity starts with cannibalism and vampirism.
I missed that one. I missed that routine of his. I know death by cake, and I know where it comes from.
At what point have you completely eaten Jesus?
Yeah,
someone actually did the math on that. Like they measured like the how much mass is in a communion wafer, and they're like, you have to consume this many of them to eat a whole Jesus.
Does anyone know how many?
Google it. Someone has actually done the math. You can find it pretty easily.
Has anyone done the math for how many foreskins that people bought during the Middle Ages of Jesus? And there was that bishop person or whatever said the rings of Saturn were actually where Jesus hung his foreskin.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think at one point there were at least 4, like floating around.
I thought there was like 47 foreskins.
There may have been. No, I think what it is. There's still 3. I think there are still 3 of them.
Well, they ate them.
Existent now. But I don't know how many there were originally.
And there was that Saint Bridget or whatever. I think I got the saint wrong. But she said she had an invisible Jesus foreskin around her ring finger to prove that she was married to the Jesus.
I grew up United Methodist, which is decidedly not Catholic in many ways, but most interestingly is that we had oyster crackers and grape juice for communion. We didn't have wafers or wine. We had Welch's and oyster crackers.
Jesus.
Saltines worked very well.
And then, if we were lucky, there were some nice desserts later.
Desserts?
That the cake came in?
Really?
Well, it was the 70s, so there was a lot of things made with Jell-O.
Well, that's because Jesus was secretly a diabetic and had a lot of sugar in his body.
Jell-O, Cool Whip, and carrots.
I did experience lots of cupcakes. Lots of cupcakes.
Yeah, Jesus is very sweet, apparently. Everyone loves him.
I ate my fill of ambrosia when I was a preteen.
Marshmallows. Right?
Well, I can honestly say, and I'm actually kind of happy and proud to say that I don't have a single piece of Jesus in me from any wafers at all.
Oh, but he'd like
You're missing out.
No, I'm not.
Come into your heart.
Ew.
So much for the Jewish ancestry.
Well, that's just it. See, I was adopted. See, if earlier, Derek, you were saying, the only way to get to the Father is through Jesus, right?
Right.
Why would the Father have me born to Christians, conceived in the back of a 57 Chevy Bel Air hardtop two-door, by the way?
At least it was a pretty car.
Why would the Father have me conceived by Christians, put up for adoption, and then raised by Jews who don't believe in Jesus if Jesus is the only way to the Father?
It's about the journey, Neil. It's about the journey.
Moves in mysterious ways.
Because God is funny.
Yes. That's exactly what they would do.
You can't have a Jesus character that is the same character as the God character that tells you how to have slaves. You can't have the good one be the same as the one that tells you how to own slaves. But because of the fucking pagans, we had to have the goddamn Trinity. So now we got Jesus is the same as the God, and Jesus is telling people how to own slaves.
Sorry, are we talking monotheism or polytheism now?
Well, I don't fucking know.
I don't think they know. They don't even know. You know what I mean?
Well, if there's Christmas and Easter and Halloween involved, then I guess it's polytheism.
The goddamn Europeans got involved and it fucked it all up. It was going to be fine, but no, white people had to get
involved. No, it wasn't going to be fine anyway.
It was never fine. Hair is fine.
A lot of doves would die, but it was going to be okay.
Have you ever read the thing by David Sedaris called 6 to 8 Black Men?
I have not.
Never even heard of it.
Oh, well, it's a Christmas story because he was on he was like traveling in a foreign country, blah, 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 not the United States, obviously. And there's Santa myth. Instead of elves, he has slaves.
Oh, that's what people were talking about at one time.
Right. And it's David Sedaris asked them what they believe, but they've modernized it now, so they're not
They're Irish slaves?
No, they're not slaves anymore. They're helpers, but they're still slaves. They just sort of like left that word out. And if you're naughty, they stick you into a sack and then they beat you with sticks or they kidnap you.
They owe Papa Smurf money, so they're working it off from Santa's house.
Sacks and sticks.
Hey guys,
that's Krampus.
Hey guys, I gotta get off here soon. Did you guys have anything you wanted to say before I get throw your stones at me before I leave?
Oh no, I have to throw stones.
Say, do you want to throw stones? No, I'm just kidding.
Neil knows. If there's even if it's 3% bullshit, I will ride that horse until it's dead. Like, and Neil still likes me. So.
Hey,
we all like you.
You have your opinions. You know what I mean? I get it. And,
well, it's kind of a reach too, because it's like some things have already been covered, okay? And then I find that there are a lot of I want to call them biblical scholars, but part of me wants to call them apologists.
You call them THDs.
Because I don't see what the point of Jesus actually having existed or not has anything to do with modern society, other than we can't get rid
It has a lot to them, though.
Other than the fact that we can't get rid of the Bible's influence on our culture.
Right.
We're working on that. We're actually making some progress.
Okay, because there's a lot of immoral shit. Like there's this whole thing in Judges, because I had to read this stupid book for college. There's a whole thing in Judges that says obey the law of the land, right? But you have other parts of the book that like you have to obey me.
It should be a lady, but
and then the other part of the book that says don't obey me, I'm still like holding up my father's laws, and then blah blah blah. But like obey the law of the land should be the thing, though, shouldn't it? And if the law of the land says abortion's okay, then just shut your fucking mouth.
Well, the Bible has instructions for inducing abortion, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's really disgusting.
It's not an abortion.
The whole thing of the bitter water.
Yeah, the bitter water. That's it.
It's an intentional accident.
Oh my!
I thought they like shoved things up there.
No, it's basically a chemical concoction, and I think it pops up in Numbers, and I think one other place. And basically, what it is.
Numbers, definitely.
If a man suspects that his wife is pregnant with another man's kid, then he takes her to the elders. They make this concoction, they force her to drink it, and it causes her to have a miscarriage.
Oh, okay, because the way I read
it's actually like they actually give instructions on that.
Yeah, I think what it.
The way I read it, it sounded like she douches with it.
It induced salmonella poisoning, that killed the fetus.
Something similar to that, yes.
Yeah, and I mean there were things like that in many ancient cultures.
Yeah, it was basically
and that was just their
blood from around the altar and make tea out of it.
Yeah, they talk about using some dust from the altar and some other stuff, and yeah, they do something. It doesn't give a real recipe. But I mean that was a
everybody
practice.
Take a shit in this cup. Come on.
Yeah. Not just the two of you. We need everybody.
Everybody.
That sounds like a YouTube channel.
See, I never got the impression from the
oh my God, you just reminded me
that it was a drink. I got the impression that they made her douche with it, or they forced it up there.
No, it was to drink. And you reminded me of something. I was flipping through I was going to master journal list when I'm sitting in the lab doing PCB tests on oil. So I was jump online and I look at some of the latest. I was looking for latest updates on some COVID efficacy type things and stuff like that. But there really isn't anything new that I haven't already seen. But there's this one that popped up. They're talking about giving tiny amounts of poop from the mother to the newborn infant
for the flora.
To help build the immune system.
Yeah, the gut flora.
Yeah, that's the gut flora. Don't say no, I was right.
It's okay.
Well, it is counterintuitive, but yeah.
And they do the opposite. They do the opposite.
Is it counterintuitive?
They'll take the poop from the baby and have a sick person eat it for restoration of gut flora. Yep. Yep.
Derek, you're asking stuff. Thanks for coming on to Neil's program.
Yeah, man.
I can't escape poop.
Faye, thank you. I appreciate that. Seriously, I really appreciate the conversation and all you guys. And I didn't get to hang out and really hear too much Jason, but that's because Neil screwed up on sending the link. No, I'm just kidding. No.
It's fine. If you ever need someone to give you a hard time and scream horse shit, just let me know, and I will happily challenge whatever I can find.
Absolutely. I've got a wife that can do that too. So like, if I might come on here from time to time to have that happen as well. It's okay.
Yeah, but I
you're
have
always
a
welcome
tiara.
anytime, Derek.
Yeah, Derek,
I have a tiara.
You can be wrong a lot more than you have been.
That's true. I Faye, thank you for not like pointing out everything I said was wrong.
She's not really a noble
tempter.
It's not.
I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. No, I get your criticisms. I do. by the way, Dionysus was ate by the Titans in one of the myths. And I think that the Gospel of John might be using Dionysus. Oh, I'm out of here, guys. I'm out of here. No, I'm fucking with
Mic drop.
That is such a lyric.
And Faye's like, stop with the Dionysus bullshit, okay? It's not Dionysus. No, I'm just teasing.
No, it's fine. You can rub your butt on it if you want.
I'm actually going to go perform an Atheist act and cut everything off right now. So,
Wow.
I would advise against that. That's just my opinion.
A lot of band-aids
around.
Okay, man, bro.
no, but seriously, guys. I mean, seriously, I really appreciate you guys. Neil, thank you for having me on. I'm going to keep on searching, have fun, picking apart this book, if you will, and help more people, start getting out of that Kool-Aid drinking mentality. Faye, you're right. That mentality is something that it's hard to describe unless you've been there.
Have you read Dream of the Rood?
I have not.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
What is it about?
It is the crucifixion from the point of view of the cross.
Interesting.
Oh.
Hey guys, I'm gonna bounce off.
Ease,
Great
thank
meeting
you.
Yeah, no, great meeting you, and I'll catch you soon, Neil. Everybody, have a great night.
Okay, see you
Good night.
later.
Good
Take
night.
it easy. Ease.
The Dream of the Rood is, in my opinion, one of the first religious. It's a poem, but we'll just call it a text. That I think uses empathy.
Interesting.
And
I
it's
will
a
definitely
tree
check it
being empathetic, not humans. So there you go.
Well, thank you.
Mhm.
Guys, I'm out. I got to go.
Sure. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
You're all welcome into any of these anytime you're around and you see one going. Just let me know if you want to jump in.
Absolutely. And if you ever want to have another chat, you have any ideas you're interested in having me on, you can always write me. And thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it. And Jason didn't get much time to chat with you, bro, but this is the guy. He's got a lot of cool information on the myths. And I recently did interviews with him, and those are being slowly released on my channel as well. So
Awesome. But
Yeah.
Derek, the Giving Tree isn't
I
the
love
Dream
that
of
book.
the Rood. Isn't the Dream of the Rood. It isn't.
I love that book, though.
Okay.
I do.
There's empathy from a tree, but it's not the same.
It's dark. It's very dark.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh. No, I'm just
I have no idea what you guys are fucking talking
I have no fucking clue either, man.
It's like the yellow wallpaper. You've read the yellow wallpaper, right?
No.
No.
Hey, what the fuck?
It's about this long. You should read it. You can read it in one agonizing poop.
You can read it in 10 minutes.
Is it good?
It's a brain bender. Yes, it's good. It's a brain bender. It's if you can figure out what you've just read. Have you ever seen the movie Jacob's Ladder?
Yes.
Okay. Very much like that ending where you're done reading it and you're left with trying to figure out what the fuck you just did.
And then you have to go back.
And the truth is so twisted. It's great.
So it's an acid trip in a book.
No.
No,
No.
no.
No, it's not induced.
Okay.
Oh, that's a bad metaphor. Oh,
Good
Artie,
night.
of course.
God, Artie!
It's not induced.
Not in-
Good night. On that note, I'll see you guys. Seriously, you guys are too much fun, but I really appreciate it.
Have a good night.
No,
Tell
you
your
got-
wife
you
I
got
said
people to
hi.
take care of.
It was lovely to meet you.
All right.
Yeah, and if
Good
I
night.
need anyone seriously to yell horse shit at you, I will. Okay.
All right. I got you.
Okay, bye. Well, you know, Neil, if I see a balloon
you call out whatever you
that
think.
needs a pin, I'm gonna stick a pin in it. It's my job.
What? Randolph, what are you doing?
No shit.
I'm putting in some wiring because this is going to be beneficial to the True North Talk Studios.
Right. But
What are you
You're
doing right now?
like fucking slamming ladders around in the background, and we're like, I'm like, ow, dude.
Dropping aluminum
Oh,
rails?
sorry about that. I've been muting it while the drill's going, haven't I?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, well, I haven't heard a drill, so I would.
Yeah, I've been muting it before drilling.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Could you not drop the aluminum rails on the floor?
I apologize.
I had to say, though, if he had compared the hospitality myths from Greek mythology to the story of Lot, I would have said, yes, that is true. It was borrowed.
Do you know what? Most of the stuff in the Bible is borrowed from previous mythologies, including Sumerian, Egyptian, Iranian. There's all kinds of different myths that were
German? I know.
German? No. There was no German myths at the time. Oh, later,
No.
yes. I'm talking about biblical stuff, not later traditions. Of course they did. Yuletide.
Later.
Tons of mice is hilarious.
German.
Comments. All these cross quotes.
No.
Could you hang a little to the left, Jesus? I can't see the prostitute. Signed, The Cross.
I really like that. That should be on a T-shirt.
Gosh,
You just-
It's brilliant.
Just tilt your head to the right, just a little.
You look like you want to say something, Jason.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of something.
They're called glory holes.
Maybe we can
Oh,
glory holes.
fissures.
the gospel of Peter.
Glory, hallelujah.
In one of the gospels, it was actually a really popular gospel at the time. It was more popular than most of the canonicals. But there was this other gospel called the Gospel of Peter. And in it, after the crucifixion, the cross grows to be like 100 feet tall, and it starts talking. You got to read it. It's great.
That's insane.
The non-canonical
Yeah.
books are awesome.
Oh yeah, the stuff that wasn't in the Bible is way cooler than the Bible.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Gospel of Peter, it has a giant talking cross. It's like 50 or 100 feet tall, and it's like starts talking.
There's a
I
cartoon.
don't recall it
short-
saying anything about a prostitute though, but that may have been in there.
The only thing that makes things interesting is the sex.
Yeah, if it weren't for Psalms and a bunch of Solomon's shit, I just wouldn't give a damn.
Psalms, but that's where they tell you to smash infants against rocks.
Yeah, but there's a lot of talk about
Hey,
like the emissions of a horse. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, the horses emissions.
well, they are talking about practical things, aren't they?
Yeah, it's all useful information. The Psalms are
How
famous.
like donkeys and had the emissions of a horse. Or something.
Yes, very much just
Yeah.
a fucking workbook for learning to be a human. That fucking
Prostitutes?
Psalms are just talk about a fucking acid trip.
I know someone who likes to quote them at me all the time. Now that they know I'm an atheist,
Uh-oh.
they're like, "Oh, why did you give up your religion?" It's like I didn't.
You should start quoting Doors lyrics.
Well,
And
now
then
they think I'm like demonic, and they call me every now and again like, "Where's my stuff?" I didn't do anything. It's God. It's your fault. It's like I don't have magic.
Somebody does this to you?
Yeah.
Does this to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely be quoting Doors lyrics and then just giving them
Riders
chapter
of
and
the
verse after
storm.
that. Yeah.
No, not those lyrics.
Oh, why
Well,
not?
no, something from
Bum, 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 bum.
The Blood in the Streets. It's up to
Yes.
my ankles. The
Oh,
blood in
dear.
the streets. It's up to my knees.
Yeah, that's good.
The blood in the
Why don't I
streets.
just do
Town of the Angels.
this sound ain't big enough for both of us. It says Susie and the Banshees cover.
And every time Susie and the Banshees gets mentioned, I leap immediately to the Cranberries for some reason.
Because they're better.
In the chat, Nerdy Rodent is asking if we've got wood. You can tell him I'm drilling wood.
Yes. Prostitutes?
We like them.
That's funny.
Hmm.
Yeah, Jesus should wear that shirt, I guess. Got wood?
Prostitutes.
great.
Knots for a nickel.
That's, you know what? That's what I'm going to call Christians from now on.
Prostitutes.
Prostitutes?
Prostitutes.
That's definitely hashtag worthy. To whom do we owe credit for that one? I missed it.
Nerdy rodent.
Nerdy rodent.
Nerdy. Kudos.
Nerdy rodent.
Because it's tons of mice has been quoting the cross too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, could you hang a little to the left, Jesus? I can't see the prostitute.
Today was the
The
first
cross.
time that I was actually able to laugh out loud at a street preacher. I was at an intersection in town, and it's a busy intersection, but it's not one where and it was not a lot of people had the windows down today. It wasn't cold, but not a lot of people had their windows down, and I had no idea the woman was even talking until I could see that she was holding something in front of her face, which drew my attention, and then I could see her doing a lot of this. So I thought either she's chewing with a mouth that's in the back of her neck, or she's talking really loud. And then I saw the Jesus is Love. I think it was Jesus is Love T-shirt that she was wearing, and that what she had was what appeared to be the size of a Mr. Microphone. It was fucking huge. And there was a guy with her, and he was sitting on the amp, which I thought was even funnier. And as I rolled by, I had Dear
Don't
God.
fall, Randolph.
I had Dear God playing on the fucking stereo, and I just that was so fucking funny to me.
Okay, I can't hear out of this ear now.
She immediately snapped her head around and was looking for another audience, and I just
Oh, you didn't tell her that women aren't allowed to preach.
if I'd have driven slower through the intersection, I had that at the tip of my tongue, but
Okay.
I don't tolerate you.
No, just you're not a real Christian. Because women aren't allowed to preach.
My God told me that your God wouldn't allow that.
My God can beat up your good.
My God read the Bible.
And said, whoever wrote this shit needs better drugs.
Yeah. My God is a strict constructionist.
That's what Randolph's doing. He's a constructionist right now.
He's constructinating.
He's constructinating. He's constructing.
Using a constructinator to constructinate. Handy fella, that guy.
I just have to say, after this, I'm going to be watching the debate.
Which debate? Oh, good Lord, why?
Because
To me, that's like torture.
Oh,
No, I have to do it. I'm sorry.
can't. I live in
No, we
Indiana. I cannot stand that man's voice any more than I can stand Trump's.
Yeah.
Cannot do it.
I haven't watched the first one. I ain't watching this one.
I knew
I
that.
just laugh at all the. I've you see clips, and then I just laugh at all the responses of people.
Yeah, I knew that idiot when he had a radio show. I don't want to fucking. Nope.
I need to do some shouting and fist waving, though.
I get.
Do it here.
I get
Don't
that.
leave.
I get that.
Somebody had put a brief list of I would like to hear her blah blah during the debate, and my suggestion was that she turn to his wife to give all of her answers.
I love that.
Just go ahead and give the answers to Mother, because she's gonna have the answers, not Mike.
You missed
I'm
it
working
earlier.
outside.
Yeah, you missed earlier. Davey said he's doing some of the electrical stuff that we're using for the new studio.
Just laying the wire, not actually hooking anything up yet.
All right, Sparky.
Laying the wire. I hope it was consensual.
Ooh.
You already look like powder. I don't think this is a good idea.
Hello, it's me. What do you expect? I tell bad dad jokes. What do you want from me?
I like your jokes.
As I recall, powder and electricity did not mix.
Yeah, I think that's true.
This person who's been calling me and giving me a hard time about witchcraft and shit like that, she made the mistake of saying, oh, I've been looking at the Bible for answers for certain questions. And the questions she's been asking for the last 3 years, no lie, is, why do Jews hate Jesus?
What?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus was a Jew.
No kidding.
Oh, fuck. Did you tell her? Does she know
Yeah.
now?
I try to explain things as nicely as I possibly could, but at the end, she was looking at me as if she needed to go wash herself in bleach and go to confession because she had like touched something unclean.
Yeah, I told the story on this very channel about the last time I attended a service at the church I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
I was being paid to perform as a part of a brass quartet on Christmas. And the new pastor that I was completely unfamiliar with went into a lengthy diatribe, angrily shitting on the Jews that killed Jesus for a good 20 minutes.
Well, they were kind of partially responsible.
But it's fucking Christmas Eve. It's not fucking Easter. It's Christmas Eve.
Now, is he aware that all those Jews are now dead? Like, they probably died about 2,000 years ago?
I don't think he tried really hard to hide his anti-Semitism that night. And I had my fill. I was.
He just put on the red armband with the little swastika on it.
I've been in that church exactly once since then, and it was hit by a tornado and lit on fire in the intervening years. So,
Lightning.
What kind of mustache did this guy have? You know,
it's funny. Is that
kind of like a Charlie Chaplin?
The pastor that I grew up with had nothing even close to an opinion like that. He was just a beautiful human being. He was just a really nice person. And he had shit to say on Sundays that my parents believed. So, I ate that shit up. But when it came right down to it, he was just a really good person. This guy was a horrible human being. And I literally turned around and looked to see where my parents were to see how they were reacting to this. Because I was gobsmacked. I couldn't believe I was listening to this anti-Semitism in my fucking church. Not that I'd been there much, but my band director turned out to be the choir director at my church, so I ended up in a goddamn brass quartet. But
this is
it
when
was
I wish
so
I could
gross.
speak German. This is when I wish I really could speak German so I could pretend to do an Adolf Hitler rant. What? Jewish people!
A little something from the porch.
Yeah, because it's like that's how I'm imagining that guy.
Yeah, it wasn't quite that bad, but it was definitely wildly inappropriate. And it was fucking Christmas Eve, so he had a big audience and clearly had written this shit. It was just dumbfounded.
Okay, I need to answer a couple questions that are going on in the chat here. No, Dave, the show will not be outside. If you look where Randolph is standing right now, if you look at what it would be his right shoulder, and behind him is the area that we're turning into the studio when it's all enclosed. All right, that's where the show will be being done in there. There's lots of stuff going to go in there.
That looks like a place where zombies pop out of.
Yep. Well, that's okay. We'll fight them off as they get here. He's already got the door frames.
You're still
there.
muted, like you've been drilling.
Thank you. And we just got these big, beautiful doors. So these were donated.
Oh, awesome.
That was nice.
Very cool. What'd you do? Tell them we were a non-profit?
Immune to profit?
I don't know. I don't think we have. That's not the sort of thing we do here.
And also for Mark, yes, I pay Randolph to laugh at my jokes, so that's why he does it.
Not much, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he pays me with friendship.
And
oh, listen to this guy.
And syrup.
It's okay. When I'm at Randolph's house, he feeds me, so it's all good.
As long as it's not a spore print.
Neil
Right?
knows where to get the good dark syrup.
Yep, the Dutch Panacook house.
Are you Canadian?
That last draw.
Are you Canadian?
Me?
Already?
Yeah.
No.
Then how do you know about the dark syrup? Oh, we're not supposed to talk about that.
I have an affinity, and I have been to Vermont more than once.
Well, that explains it, yeah.
Yeah, that pretty much does, actually.
Yeah, Vermont hasn't succeeded to Canada yet. We're still waiting for that.
Yeah,
I don't even
weird
know
things
what the hell
happened
that's
regarding the dark syrup in this country, and I didn't even think about it.
Good. That's the way we like it.
You can no longer sell the what do they call it? Dark amber in the United States and call it Class A product.
Oh, okay.
Why?
I think it's because it's dark.
Oh. Well,
It's-
since
it's-
it's not Buckley's, we're okay.
It's usually the one that's less expensive because most people don't like. It's got a stronger maple thing going for it,
Mm-hmm.
and most people want the early push where the sap is nice and watery and it's fine, makes good candy. But if you're gonna put that shit on pancakes, give me the dark.
Have
And
you ever
Stuff that
tried
comes out of the
Buckley's?
tree is really good. You tried
even,
what?
even the local syrupers won't sell it because they're afraid of getting shut down.
Oh.
Tons of mice is talking about a dark amber right now.
It's so delicious. If
I
you're
need to try some of that.
gonna put it over any kind of a pastry item, it's so good.
Dark
It's
Amber
good-
was a
it's good in
great
coffee.
stripper.
A little bit of coffee, a little bit of rum.
I need to correct Irish Sweet. Irish Sweet says dark syrup is the real godly liquid. No, it's goddessly. It's better than godly.
Yeah,
And here in Canada, anyway.
it's got pizzazz.
I thought everything in Canada was great until I had Buckley's.
Oh, you had the Buckley's cough syrup?
That's intended to taste bad because
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah, they tell you that.
That's what I thought until I had Tim Hortons coffee.
The truth in
And
marketing.
then you end up with mentholated crotch for a couple of days after you take it.
Did you try the Tim Hortons coffee before or after Burger King bought the company?
I haven't had Tim Hortons coffee.
No, I'm asking Artemis.
It was less than 20 years ago, but more than 15 years ago.
Okay, then that was
So they hadn't bought the company.
yeah, not yet. That was a very recent thing they bought it.
Yeah, no, it was very much like not even could very well have been the store I was at, but
I'm going to let you in on a little
it was
bit of a
bad
secret.
enough to make me think that I've had way better gas station coffee than this.
Yeah, Tim Hortons, at least here in the States, is very inconsistent. I've been to
Too
one
bad.
where it was
Actually,
fantastic,
I was in Canada.
and then I hit another one like
It was Windsor.
50 miles away, and it was trash.
Oh, where's your geographical location, state-wise, not town-wise?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I live in North Carolina. Currently, I think I'm in West Virginia, but I'm not positive.
That's adorable. Okay.
Oh, you could go
Yeah.
outside and whistle, and somebody will tell you.
Yeah, I think I'm in West Virginia right now, but I'm
At least it's really pretty right
I'm not
there.
positive. Oh yeah, it's beautiful, and the roads. There's no one on the roads out here. I'm off I-79, so yeah. I'm in West Virginia. So yeah, I'm there's like nothing out here, no
Okay.
big cities or anything like that.
I need
So
to address
traffic's
this.
good.
I only know Canada from South Park. We don't have square wheels, Theo. McDonald's uses the old Starbucks bean supplier because in Canada, Starbucks hasn't changed bean suppliers. Right. One of my best friends, actually, I think you've met him, Randolph. Did you meet? Oh, no, you never met Tim. I don't think you met Tim. Anyway, he's one of the managers of a Starbucks, and they have not... McDonald's didn't use the old Starbucks here in Canada. McDonald's bought the old recipe from Tim Hortons here in Canada. So that's why McDonald's coffee is improved. Now, it's not the old recipe because technically Tim Hortons, when they were bought out by Burger King, what they said is they wanted them, and it's been a couple of years since Burger King bought them, but they wanted to have them make their own in-house roast. They still use the same bean supplier, but they brew in-house rather than farm it out to different.
Do you know the name of the parent company that owns Burger King?
Huh? No idea.
Yum.
I just plugged it in. The laptop battery was going down, so it was trying to save power with the network connection.
YUM,
Okay.
like yummy. They own Pizza Hut and Taco Bell and There's a couple others in there, Fazoli's in the United States, something else. Yeah, the company's fucking called Yum. Can you imagine being a grown-ass person and having business cards that say Yum?
No, but I suspect their children had something to do with it.
For such a powerfully huge, meaningful, important company to be called Yum is just... It's like having one named Boop.
In China, there's a big company called Tencent, and it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah. That was just mocking capitalism.
No, that was the QQ network that includes WeChat and other apps like that.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. The name
I
was.
think there's worse trigger words. It's like if you get married to someone and they say that your household, you don't name your property, do you? Like a lot of people don't name them anymore.
My brother did. I thought it was funny. My brother's got fuck you money. Well, he's got almost fuck you money, and he named his house, but his house is on like a street in the neighborhood. It's.
Well, you're fucked if the house says "ouch."
Most of the condo complexes have names, but that's for a whole community, not for a single house.
I know a lot of like people around here like to name their property. Maybe because it used to be a farm. I don't know, but they'll name their property.
Yeah,
it'll have like a weird fucking name too.
Well, look at the TV show Dallas. They had a name for the ranch and all that, but that was a big piece of property. It's not just a house.
Yeah, but a ranch is a business.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. A lot of people don't realize it's a business.
I'm with you, P. I think I haven't eaten. I think I've been to McDonald's, well, including this last venture, 3 times in the past 4 years. If I eat fast food, I prefer Burger King, to be honest, over McDonald's. But and once in a while I get my Whopper cravings. But I went to McDonald's recently because they had the McChickens that they released that had the habanero, the Carolina Reaper, and the I think it was Carolina Reaper or something like that, and the ghost pepper sauces for these McChickens. And I wanted to go and see just how spicy they would make them. And of course, it's McDonald's; they don't make them that spicy. Well, I never got to get the ghost pepper one because every fucking one I went to was out of them. They didn't have any. It's like everyone wanted to go test out this ghost pepper McChicken, and I couldn't get one. So I tried the one under it, and it was horrifying.
So you like
terrible.
the spicy?
I like spicy. Yeah, definitely.
You like it as spice.
You like it as
Yeah,
spicy.
I like the spicy.
You weren't missing out. I tried those, and they were just. It was
no, they weren't
food.
spicy at all. Like the habanero one and the Middle Road one tasted almost identical.
Yeah.
Right. So I wanted to see if the third one, the ghost pepper, would be a little bit more of a kick.
Mm-hmm.
The habanero one.
It was a little bit more, but it wasn't that spicy, and it just didn't. To me, it just didn't taste good. It just tasted like it tasted like someone just squirted sriracha sauce on a McDonald's sandwich.
What's your favorite hot sauce?
My favorite hot sauce?
All of y'all.
Shit, I don't even know if they make it, but I used to love one called Thermonuclear War.
That's cute.
That was on the Scoville scale. It was. Now, was it just over or just under 2 million? I think it was just under. Which is huge. That's huge heat. That's
that's way hotter than
right around the 2 million scale is about where you can still taste the flavor, but it's still super hot. You go above the 2 million Scoville scale, it's just heat. You don't taste anything.
Yeah, my favorite hot sauces are cayenne pepper sauces. So wherever those land,
yeah, those aren't very high.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've eaten hotter shit, but for something, I also have Jesus Christ, I have in my stomach. I've got an ouchie. It's called an ulcer.
No, those are not good for that.
It's only a little bit smaller than the size of my head, so there are certain really oily sauces that I have to avoid.
Oh yeah.
Don't they have things to cure ulcers now?
Cure?
You
Yes.
can't cure an ulcer.
No.
Well, you can
have it removed.
Treat it, yeah, or remove it, yeah.
But that's not worth it. Yeah, no, I'm well medicated. I'm on shit that's good enough that I can drink on an empty stomach the day that I forget to take it. That's how good my shit is.
Well, I wouldn't suggest that.
I always know when I haven't taken a pill, because no matter what happens on the day after I haven't taken one, I'm waking up with a stomach that says, you forgot to take your pill yesterday. I could have had milk sandwiches all fucking day the day before, and I'm still going to wake up on the day after not taking that pill, knowing I had not taken that pill.
Wait, did you say you're taking the day after pill?
Yes. I have news that I, as a 51-year-old, I've taken the steps necessary to achieve.
That doesn't work with lactose
The
intolerance.
steps necessary to achieve an accidental pregnancy.
Wouldn't it be immaculate in your case?
Damn well it ought to be.
What about you, Dragons? What's your favorite?
The first tube of pregnancy to go to term.
For a basic hot sauce that I keep on the table, just to give a little bit of fire to my food, would probably be Gringo Bandito. It's made by the lead singer from The Offspring. It's just
really
it's spicy, but it has a lot of good flavor to it. Like it's not just like vinegar and pepper like a lot of hot sauces are. This has good flavor to it.
What's it called?
I mean, it's not going to burn your lips off, but it's going to make your food taste good.
What'd you say it was called?
Gringo Bandito. They have
name.
I think they have like 4 different flavors, and I think you can actually get like a sampler pack on Amazon.
Yeah, you can buy them online.
So yeah,
I
check
saw
that
the
out.
sampler pack.
It's really good.
I'm looking it up. I like to know what people like as hot sauce because I'm always looking for improvements.
Well, I bought one at a place called Cabela's, which is like a hunting, sporting type store. And they had a hot sauce that came in a skull-shaped jar. So, of course, I had to buy it.
Oh, yeah.
But
well, you want the jar. Yeah.
Well, hell yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's still sitting at my buddy's place because I end up bringing it down there because my roommate can't eat hot sauce. So I go put it on shit when I'm eating at his place. And he uses it all the time. And I can't remember what the name of it, but it's Pirate something it's called. And it's a skull shape, which seems apropos for me being the biker pirate guy. And it's really cool. But it tasted like notched up Frank's Red Hot. And you know what? I'll be honest. I don't mind Frank's Red Hot. I think it's got a nice flavor to it.
It's delicious.
It's not super hot, but it's
it's
this
delicious.
stuff ramps it up. It tastes very similar to Frank's, but ramped up to 11, we'll say. So it's got a good kick to it, but it still has that Frank's-esque kind of flavor to it.
It's cayenne and something with a...
Has someone recommended to me something called colon cleaner hot sauce? Apparently
never
it's
eat
like
anything
some
that's
kind
called
of mustard base. Someone else recommended something called Arrogant Bastard.
You definitely want to stick to the...
Shit the bed.
The demonic references rather than the gastrointestinal references when you're dealing with hot sauces, I think.
Yeah.
And another one
like a
called
warning, right?
Pineapple and Habanero.
Neat. There's one I tried, a habanero mango one that was actually quite
mango
tasty.
habanero is amazing.
Yeah.
That's
Really?
a fantastic
Yeah.
flavor combination.
That was the thing that I was going to say is that I my favorite hot sauce isn't particularly fucking hot, but if I'm going to have habanero, it better taste like fucking habaneros, which start sweet.
I
So
found your hot sauce.
If it doesn't fucking start sweet, then
Which one?
Just shit.
The Gringo Bandito.
Oh yeah, I was looking for it because I thought it was based on the name was from a lyric from
Hi, Mikey.
Here Come the Mummies.
Okay, which one do you have? Do you have the green, the hot and spicy, OG variety pack, red sauce, spicy yellow, super hot?
I think the
What
regular red and the super hot.
Okay, so
I'm not a big fan of green hot sauces. I don't know. I like my hot sauce red.
I've grown into green.
I found one.
Mm-hmm.
There
What about
was
green
this.
ketchup?
There was this. No. We don't do that.
Look,
I
some
was,
of Saturn's moons.
Yeah, I'll fry a green tomato.
I was
bake
down
green
in
tomato.
West Texas. I just made a delivery, and I was heading over to Houston to drop off my trailer, and I wanted to grab a quick lunch. And in the parking lot of this truck stop, they had this old Mexican guy with this little food trailer, which made no sense because it was in the middle of nowhere, and there was no one over there. But he's over there, with 0 customers. So I walk over, and he's got all these burritos, and I'm asking him if he had anything that was kind of spicy, and because normally, it's okay to ask for spicy food, not when you're that close to Mexico, because they actually know about spice, and I kind of forgot that, and so he has this burrito. He goes, "Oh yeah. Look, I got this one burrito, and I've got all these, all these peppers in it." I'm like, "Oh, cool." He goes, "Now I got this other one with my homemade hot sauce." I'm like, "Oh, well, what's in it?" He's like, "Oh, it's some ghost pepper sauce that I made." And I'm like,
cilantro. It's got the onion.
"Yeah." I'm like, "Give me that one."
It's pretty strong.
And so I get this thing, and I hop in my truck. I unwrap this thing, and I take off. And there are fumes coming off it, and it's burning my nose. And I take a bite, and it was like biting into fiberglass, man. I mean, this thing, it was abrasive.
Wow.
And now I've got a problem. I am in the middle of nowhere, West Texas, with a limited amount of water. And
you don't want
a
to drink
ghost
the
pepper
water.
Burrito.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and you don't want to drink the water.
He's in Texas.
Yeah, it's like I should have bought some milk before I left.
Screw that. Use half and
Tomato
half.
juice?
So
Cremo.
I'm still hungry and I'm determined. So I'm chewing on this thing and regretting it. And drinking water and eating this thing.
Yeah,
right. That's what I was doing because I was so hungry, but I was also suffering. And I ate like half of this thing. And then I drank all of my water. It's like a big 64-ounce jug. I drank the whole thing, and then I ripped the top off, and I was like shoveling in the ice and just eating the ice. And after like an hour of suffering, I roll into this truck stop.
On impact, right?
Yeah. I roll into this truck stop, and I run inside, and I grab like 2 of those little mini bottles of milk. And I just open one up and just drink it while walking up to the counter with the other one. And
only 2? That was all you needed?
I'm Cajun. I can deal with ghost peppers if I have a little bit of milk. But I got my thing of milk. I went out to the truck. I finished my burrito. And I drank the other little bottle of milk. It was all good. And I will never make the mistake of asking for a spicy burrito from like a 70-year-old Mexican guy again. I will never do that. Not unless I have milk on hand.
I retired after 25 years of landscaping. Yo hablo un poco español. And because I spoke Spanish, 2 things happened. 1, they would try to fuck with me when they met me. And 2, I would end up teaching them English while they taught me more Spanish. Because they would try to fuck with me, and I would keep using words they didn't know and expecting them to know what they were. So every time I got frustrated, I'd use a word they didn't know. It was fun. I had a good time when I was doing it. But yeah, when you gotta know your fucking wife that's cooking for you. When one of the guys says, "My wife cooked you lunch," you gotta know what your relationship is with that guy and what his wife is like based on the stories that you've heard him tell, because you might get what you got, and I've had that. That's when I learned I was not getting along with one of the guys I was working with.
Aw, that's so sad.
I asked the other guys, and they're like, "Well, yeah, we should have told you." I'm like, "No, you shouldn't have," but I'm glad you told me now. But I speak
jumping spider buddy's back.
Speak just enough Spanish to have those kind of conversations with guys, which is why they ended up at my house drinking my beer while I taught them English.
I think Neil should offer to eat spicy things on camera for me.
Oh, what do you want me to do? Eat
Spicy
things
things
on
on
camera?
camera for you. Mm-hmm.
She just wants to watch you drink milk.
I don't drink milk.
Oh, there goes the fantasy.
So,
What about ice cream?
by
Neil?
milk you drink, you mean beer. Then
Will you touch ice cream, Bill?
I like ice cream.
Ice what?
Ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you, Mike?
I was just about to say that the cure that I got from over the years of working with guys was peach yogurt.
Hardy, hang on.
I thought you were gonna say.
Welcome back, Robert.
I thought you were gonna say that you
you
drink Guinness floats with vanilla ice cream.
Points.
Guinness floats, yeah. Ooh, I gotta try that.
Who said that? Was that Robert? Robert gets a point. Let me get my board out.
Robert gets the point. Yeah.
For what? Guinness floats? I said that.
No.
I'm joking. I'm being obnoxious right now.
Yes, as if
I haven't noticed.
as if it was possible to mistake Robert for her voice.
Hello. Oh, peach.
Shit,
Is
Robert's
it
here as
good?
well. I didn't
Mikey,
Peach-
is that good?
even know.
This peach. What is this? Peach Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Because that's how that shit's made.
Does it
Brought to
taste
us
like
by-
peaches?
It tastes like the most complicated bite of cobbler you've ever had.
I want it.
Fuck yeah, dude, that was beautiful.
I want it.
It's
I love
peach
peach.
and ginger, so it's got bite to it. But the peach kind of like warms your because it's whiskey, kind of like warms your body. But the bite of the ginger kind of like snaps you back to reality and doesn't let you enjoy it. But then you go back for more.
Explain it to us like we're 5.
And then your tongue dies, and it's all good.
Yummy, yummy fire water, 5-year-old.
Ah.
That's the shit grandmas use these days. For
We
those
got
of us that I got fed VO when I had a cough at grandma's house.
I have a couple of friends who have reported that they were at like the family function and like, oh, let me grab my water cup, and then it was just straight gin, and it was grandma's, and then it was, oh god.
Robert, in this your question about blood, I don't know how to tell you this, but blood in all animal species is pretty much the same. The only difference is RH factor and blood type, like B, A, AB, O.
Unless
How
you're
salty
an
is
The only
aquatic.
difference.
How
Unless you're an
salty is
aquatic.
it? How much iron's in it?
Okay, one at a time. Yeah, that's part of what RH is, by the way.
The
Iron
saltiness?
levels. No.
Oh.
Saltiness.
right, okay.
Shut up.
Have we met? You and I, have we met?
Yeah.
And then there's also a rating of how delicious it tastes.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Just ask a vampire.
Yeah.
But if,
Blood is
if you're
pretty
a
much the
horseshoe
same.
crab, you don't have iron in your blood. You have copper.
That's correct.
Which is why their blood is green.
Kind of.
Blue-ish.
It oxidizes.
True.
Yes.
So
Yes.
does
So it
mine.
seems like it tarnishes.
It's a contrary to what a lot of people seem to think. Your blood isn't blue until it hits air. It's always red. That's why they're called red blood cells.
It does look blue through your skin, though.
It does. That's the lining of the veins.
If you're really fucking pasty white,
Oh, I know, but it's the lining of the veins. It's not the blood.
yeah,
What
no,
y'all talking about?
yeah, you
Translucent.
do
I've never seen
have to
blue.
be
Mikey, you're not
really
pasty
fucking
white.
pasty white.
I've never seen blue veins. What are y'all talking about?
That's part of the reason
Blue.
blue bloods was a thing. Let's not
Right.
act like that's not fucking racist as shit.
The Blue Blood
Um,
Club.
Blue blood. See, because it was an old misconception. That's why. So they're inaptly named. And Robert, dude,
Iron
please,
deficiency.
buddy, come on. The Earth is not flat. Look, trust me, I have cats. If the Earth was flat, cats would knocked everything off the edge. By now.
We're old enough to remember space launches.
Yes. But according to flat earthers, space is fake. It's like,
Oh yeah, they just bounce off
do
the
we have a-
continent.
Do we
this
have a
entire
flat earther?
fucking science department. Yeah. Robert's a flat earther.
Not my
Sorry,
Robert.
No,
Yeah.
Robert
No.
Perkinson, I guess is his name.
Whole different Robert.
Oh, okay, good. Because I was gonna be like, what happened to Robert? Did
Yeah, the name's more
fall
common than
down
you
and
think.
bump his head? That's new. That's new. Personality change. I'm
Yeah,
worried.
No.
Pop the tendon or break something.
Being involved in the sciences myself to some degree, in chemistry and biology and whatnot. But of course, that's nothing to do with space and everything. But no, NASA's not lying to you, dude. I'm
Well,
sorry,
Robert-
they're not, man. They're
Even
not.
if they
do you
were,
like-
they're not alone.
Robert Perkinson, do you like?
I understand how hard it would be
technology?
to cover this shit up. Like, seriously.
Well, we don't even need NASA to tell us anything about
No,
the
we
shape
don't.
of the planet. I mean, the Greeks proved that the Earth was round.
Yep.
What, like
By using
2,500
sticks.
years ago? Yeah, they had sticks and they measured the shadows, and
Yep.
they didn't get the exact size of it correct, but they got pretty
They were within
damn
3 meters,
close.
dude. They were within 3 meters.
They got close, and it's like, and what's crazy is like these are experiments that people can do today. You can replicate these experiments today.
Look what Jeranism did with the laser one.
Yeah.
And of course, it demonstrated that the Earth is curved, and all he could say was, "Huh." That's all he said.
Yeah, what's great is flat earthers they have actually developed some of the same experiments people have been trying to get them to use for decades. They've developed them independently, and then they've gone out to try to prove the Earth was flat, came out with the fact that it was round, and just said, maybe
interesting.
my experiment is flawed. Let me just
Yeah.
disregard my findings and build a new experiment.
Yeah, I've done this. Clearly,
Yeah,
I've done this wrong.
it's hilarious.
This is giving me the results that have been predicted. Clearly, this is fucked up.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah, one of my first appearances on the interwebs on YouTube was on Squirrel's channel with Reds, and we were interviewing Jeranism. I know that wasn't the beginning of their.
this is one of the bloopers from
Blood
Stanley
feud. Yeah, that's
Kubrick's
fucking
film
hysterical.
when he faked the moon
Yeah.
landing.
Because the moon landing
in the background, right there.
because it was a
Yeah,
pop up.
I love the dude in the background. That's awesome.
Who knocks the
Neil,
I
did
just
you
came across
know
this thing.
what Mark Caesar said?
Yeah, talking to I've only ever done the one live conversation with a flatter, and it was Jeranism, which the fact that he turned out to be somebody that anybody else has ever fucking heard of, it's hysterical based on how stupid that conversation got 7 years ago or what? No, maybe not that long ago, but it's been a good long while ago. 5 years ago, maybe. I don't know. I drink. Smoke.
Okay.
Neil, we can't hear you, buddy.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Pardon me.
Yeah, NASA
Mark
muted
was saying-
Neil.
Yeah.
He was about to blow the lid off.
NASA muted me. That's right.
Fucking
NASA has no reason to lie to anybody, Robert. I'm sorry, they don't.
They're credible.
Yeah, NASA never told us everyone the world is round. We knew that for
Yeah,
couple
we already knew
thousand
that
years
before NASA. came
NASA.
out.
You know,
Moon landing
Columbus
was
knew
not
the
fake.
world was round.
The Russians proved it was round before we did.
Yeah, Neil is muted. Yes, I am muted. Not anymore though. Mark, as I was saying, I know Black Label hot sauce. Absolutely, I've already tried it. A teaspoon, no problem. That's not very much, actually. But yeah, no problem.
Wait, are we talking a Canadian teaspoon or an Australian teaspoon?
Canadian is the correct one.
And one thing for Robert,
Neil.
not my Robert, but Robert.
CGI.
There's over 6,300 patents that NASA currently has under its belt because of the space program that have improved our lives.
Okay,
So,
Like the ballpoint pen.
yay.
Hey, Robert,
Becky, what are you fucking doing, man?
show us a navigable map.
It froze. Like my Google stopped responding, my Chrome. So I was like, let me just restart. I haven't restarted all day. So
I use Opera.
Robert, why would they have no reason? Why would they have any reason to lie to us? Like, I don't get that. I don't get the personally. I don't get the conspiratorial mindset to begin with, because you're talking about something that would literally be impossible to cover up.
I can't get that high.
Yeah, I know. It would literally be impossible to cover that up. You know what? When I see, David says something to him, it's like sources. No, dude. We know what we're telling you is true.
There is not a single culture in the world that thinks the world is flat.
You have to come up with your evidence to disprove what we already know to be true.
If
Show us a navigable map.
somebody can prove it's flat, they're going to win a Nobel Prize.
Show us a flat Earth map where the distances match.
there you
What
go.
the hell is this? What?
I mean,
the
I
hell?
understand.
Tell us what scale any flat Earth map is in.
Now
We
you
have
heard
no
that
meaning on a globe if we came from. I don't know how the two are even related, and we didn't come from monkeys. Whoever told you that lied to you. We came from hominids, and us and monkeys had a common ancestor. It's a totally different thing. Apparently, you don't know how evolution works.
They
either.
did have tails.
Yeah, evolution has nothing at all to do with the shape of the Earth. It has nothing to do with the Big Bang. It has nothing to do with the origin of life. It has nothing to do with NASA.
That's the other thing I read.
Nothing to do with religion.
It is fun to gish gallop and obfuscate, though.
now
That's the other thing I read. They now are like this close to finding how abiogenesis happened. They unlocked another feature of how cells were able to chemically bond to start forming organic cells.
Yeah,
which is
remember
amazing.
back in the 70s, there were some experiments done where they basically just recreated the environment of like the early
never
Earth,
spontaneously
and
produced
it gave like amino acids in like within like a
protein based,
week.
like lipids.
And
That's the shit
when
I
they did
was
some
talking
other things
about.
of like the upper atmosphere and things like that, they were getting different amino acids, and they were like basically the giant, chemistry mess of the early Earth was just really good at creating the building blocks of life. Just because all the elements were there and they naturally bond together in those ways. But then like getting from there to, like RNA or DNA, things like that, there was always like these missing steps. So it's good to see that those gaps are being closed.
Can the flat earther please explain this photo?
What is it?
You know what it is? I think flat earthers just
Thanks, Ray.
misread Terry Pratchett.
So
I too have begged
that a Suburban?
attention.
No, so the reason why
Suburbans prove the Earth is round.
so the reason why this photo right here proves that the Earth is round is if the sun does what they say the sun does, then the cloud wouldn't be lit up on only the top half.
Oh, right.
You say that, but I have. Did I mention that I talked to Jeranism?
Hey, Robert. If man came from dirt, then why is there still dirt?
Yeah, exactly.
Checkmate, atheist.
Mic drop. Why people came from Europe? Why is there still Europeans?
Yeah.
And
like I
that's
said,
what's
we
in-
didn't come from monkeys. It's not
Your
like there was
question
a
is
leap.
so stupid.
There was like
that
monkeys and
your
then humans. That's not how that works.
He's just
Yeah.
trying to distract us and make us say dumb things.
He wants to be talked to. His parents won't. I get it. I wouldn't either.
That's right. Look, man. Aside from these kinds of beliefs that he has, I'm sure he's a nice guy. So, but I'll address questions.
I'm sure he's a nice guy, even though he has these beliefs. My concern was more about his need for attention.
Okay. I need more evidence than that to determine if someone's a nice guy. I'm not going to assume.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
I always give people the benefit of the doubt until they give me a reason not to.
Just because you're Canadian.
Screen share.
No, it's because I'm a social creature.
No, it's
I'm a
because you're
genuine
Canadian.
believer. That's fine. You can be convinced of whatever it is you want to convince yourself.
It's Canadian. It's the Canadian thing.
Okay, but we have evidence that it's not. So, and there's a shit ton of it. Yes.
There's a screen share here, so this is an important thing that they need to rule out as well.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
That I'm a fire-breathing bitch.
No. I'm talking about flat Earth. We need to rule out the alternatives to spherical Earth as well, like cylinder Earth, for example.
No. As a landscaper, that's the one that makes the most sense because all I've ever done is dig down.
Well, Robert, if I could borrow you for a 48-hour period, I'm pretty sure I could take you to some places that would completely blow your mind, and you might probably change your mind on how you feel about some of these things.
You are turning me on.
And just remember, Robert.
Maybe I won't join you.
Science is not a bad thing. You can have your religion and still believe in true things. You really can. You can have both. And without science, a lot of us would die in really bad ways. So we like science, don't we?
Oh yeah.
I'll see if I can explain this to you. The Earth, as we know, is curved, regardless of what you feel about it, or what people have clearly convinced you. So the sun goes around the Earth, right? Oh no, sorry, we go around the sun, so it arcs over the sky, basically, when we go around it. So when it's up on part of the cloud, it's like when you have the light here. I got a light here, and you can only see the front part of it is lit up, but the back isn't. But if the sun was directly over and just moving around in a circle, this would be more lit up. You can't see the other side because it's behind, and if I turned it around, it would just be lit up. But the back side of it is dark, and the front is because the light source is coming from there. Well, the sun coming up would do the same thing. It would light up, and then it would light this part, then it would light this part on the back, and this side would be dark as it's going across the sky. So because of the arc of the sun and how it works from the east to west, at least here anyways, that's how it works. It would light one side of something up, and then it would light the other side as it passes over the sky. That's how that works.
And that was looking almost directly north, so the sun was setting. So if the sun is setting and it's only lighting up the top of the clouds, and I live in corn country where there's no obstructions, sorry, bro, the Earth's round now because of cloud.
Yeah, if you have a giant disk and the sun is above this disk, it doesn't matter where that sun moves. Anyone on that disk can look up and see the sun. It may seem lower in the sky or higher in the sky, depending on your location. But if the sun is above a disk, no matter where that sun goes, it is visible.
Yeah,
that's just all there is to it. And
somebody should have taught you how light works.
You couldn't have the sun only illuminating part of the cloud like that if you have a disk. It could only do that if you have a round Earth. The cloud is right here, and the sun has now dipped below the horizon partially, so that part of your planet is casting a shadow on part of the cloud. If the Earth is flat, you can't have that. If the Earth is flat, you don't have nighttime either.
I would also like to know why it is that all the other planets we see through telescopes don't appear flat, and apparently only the Earth is flat.
They're fake, dude. They're fake.
We're special like that.
Something on it.
Damn it.
I don't know how that shit works. No flat earther can explain how it works or give you anything as evidence except criticisms of things they don't understand in the first place. They're all wonderfully needy and require a lot of attention from people that they think owe them attention because they have this thing they think.
No, dude, it's whatever. That's fine. I'll give him attention if he wants to talk to me about something. I'm fine with that. What would change my mind on the Earth being a globe?
Evidence.
Convincing evidence would change my mind. But I've seen enough convincing evidence that demonstrates that the Earth is an oblate spheroid.
Have to be an amazing bit of evidence.
Yeah,
mathematical.
You'd have to bring up
physical.
something that was like literally, and I don't believe in miracles, but it would have to be something miraculous to get me to overturn my belief on what I know to be the truth.
Yeah.
See, if you care what's true, you would actually legitimately try to look into this sort of thing. I think one of the best things they should do, put people up, take people up in the shuttle or something like a shuttle, and put them up there so they can actually see the Earth from space and see how the atmosphere looks, the little thin band that we've got, and how it looks from space. Because I would fucking love to do that.
I've heard it from flat earthers that apparently there's a conspiracy amongst all the pilots and the airlines. They won't allow flat earthers to become pilots for some reason.
Now, if you're a flat earther,
every pilot on the planet, every ship captain, literally everyone, I don't know, basically they are spending trillions of dollars a year just to suppress this information. Yet at the same time, they allow thousands of YouTubers to put out videos on a daily basis about how the world is flat. Like, I don't get that. How are they able to suppress this information for thousands of years? Yet anyone with a YouTube channel can apparently blow the lid off of it with zero consequence. Like, why aren't all these YouTube channels?
If you've ever once thought,
why didn't they die?
If you've even thought that the planet was flat, you're not allowed to board a plane that flies to the Antarctic.
That's the ice wall, pal.
There's a reason why I'm in the night sometimes and Neil's in the day.
Yeah. That's why in my part of the world, you can actually see the Big Dipper. And if you go to Australia, you can see the Southern Cross, which I can't see here.
Yeah, different hemispheres have completely different visible constellations.
Wait, have you ever tried to look for it over water? Because refraction's a thing. Have you not seen the pictures from Chicago to Milwaukee or where? I don't remember what it is. Where you can see miles further than you should because the air over the lake is warmer than the air around it, so that's refraction. Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind. You can explain that? Fuck.
Whoa, look at that shit.
It's that simple.
That's one fucked up keyboard. Where'd you get
that? That looks like a lit up extended version of the literally fucking
Alienware
typewriter that I learned on, where you had mechanical had circular buttons on it that you had to, that fucking thing was, I couldn't even use it as a kid because I had to shove the buttons down on it.
Some of my clients have keyboards like what Mikey's holding.
It's fucking beautiful.
Business clients have gaming keyboards in some cases.
I have a gaming
because they're
keyboard.
Pretty. Mine can do 3 or 4 different colors all at the same time.
Mine just
like mine, but
hit the rainbow.
This one that I paid $20 for.
That's the one. Well, guys, I gotta head out. We got Mom paging me, telling me to call her and shit like that. So, she even left. My voice message or my messenger can now do voice messages. Apparently, let's hear what my mom had to say.
Hi, Neil, it's Mom. Can you give me a call? Thank you.
Oh, that's it.
Oh, she sounds sweet.
She does.
Wait. Let me try that again.
Wait, your mom
Hi,
sounds
Neil, it's Mom. Can you give me a call? Thank you.
Hi, Neil, it's Mom. Can you give me a call? Thank you.
She sounds like English is her first language.
It is her first language. She speaks French and a little bit of
Artie,
Romanian.
You're so bad.
I thought you were Canadian.
I am Canadian. We speak English, Artie, as you can tell.
No, you speak Canadian.
Oh,
I'm so confused right now.
Actually, Robert, legends about dragons do not poke holes in evolution. First off, legends are not considered evidence. They are legends. And if you actually dig back to our oldest, this is what I do. I study mythology. If you dig back to our oldest legends and myths about dragons, you find that there is one thing that they all have in common. They are all water dragons. They don't have legs. They don't have wings. They don't have these long. No, they are all giant water snakes. They actually very much resemble a pod of whales swimming in line, as whales tend to do. And a lot of the descriptions also talk about them shooting steam out of their heads, as whales tend to do. You actually have these descriptions like that in the book of Job and I think Psalms, but don't quote me on the last one, but it's definitely in Job. And there is a second description like that of these water dragons. But those aren't the only ones we have. We have them in ancient Sumer, in Babylon, in Egypt, in China, in Japan, basically everywhere. We have no evidence that there were any dinosaurs within a 60 million year reach of humans.
Were dinosaurs.
If you have a video about that, I want to see it.
And elephant skeletons aren't really cyclops.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. You read these descriptions of the cyclops and stuff. They talk about how they have two tusks, and they have this one giant eye in the middle of their head. Look at the skull of an elephant. It looks almost like a human skull with a giant eye socket, and it has these two tusks. And I mean, we have almost identical bones. I mean,
elephants are cyclops.
In all likelihood, that's where these legends came from. And actually, there were a small race of elephants that lived on some of the different islands around the Mediterranean world up to a very late period. And so,
until like
they would have had fresh bones of these things. You know,
that's right. That's actually, Robert, check out some of Jason's videos, because that's why his podcast is called Dragons in Genesis. Also, dinosaurs breathing fire. Dinosaurs never breathed fire. The bombardier beetle, that's not fire. That's a kind of, shut up, Marty. That's a kind of acid. And correlation does not always equal causation. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. The idea of like the Leviathan, this thing, it wasn't even like a dinosaur. If you read the old legends about the Leviathan, this thing was like a couple 1,000 miles long. It actually wrapped all the way around the flat earth that they had, pressed up against the edges of the firmament where it comes down and touches the edge of the world. So that's obviously not a real creature. We don't have an organism that is like a couple 1,000 miles long, anywhere on Earth. That just doesn't exist. Every ancient culture has these stories because they don't know how to investigate. They don't know how to explain things, so they make up stories in an attempt to explain things that they don't understand. When they see a pod of whales swimming, you can look at videos of these on YouTube. They're very easy to find. It looks like one continuous creature, with multiple humps on its back as it's swimming through the water. But it's not. It's like a dozen large organisms swimming in line.
I just watched something the other. I'm sorry. I just watched something the other day about the likelihood that the pirate myths about sirens were pirates having sex with manatees.
Yeah, there were
long time out there in the ocean.
Some of the old descriptions of these things, they kind of sound like manatees and seals and stuff like that. And you're out on a ship for several months, and then you see something at a distance, and it splashes down into the water. You're like, was that a chick?
It's one thing to have floppy tits; it's another thing to have flippers as tits.
But the Leviathan,
some people fuck goats, so
yeah, I live in Amish country.
But the Leviathan wasn't even the only giant monster they had. They also had another one called the Z's. It was a bird. It was basically an eagle that was like 50 miles tall, and they had the behemoth. And you're going to see people like Ken Ham trying to say that the behemoth was like an apatosaurus. We have descriptions of the behemoth. It was a giant ox. It was a kaiju cow. It had cloven hooves. It had external testicles. It had horns. It was a giant cow that was supposed to be the size of a mountain range. These are not descriptions of dinosaurs. People want to make them descriptions of dinosaurs because the idea of a 100-mile long cow is just preposterous.
Babe,
and so you say, well, what if we say it's a dinosaur because that supports young Earth creationism? And that's what you have there. It's not legend that pokes holes in evolution. It's just myth.
It literally sounds like the Babe the Blue Ox story, given a excuse to be something else.
Oh. Is Neil leaving us? He's muted.
Ooted again.
He needs to talk
What's
to
that?
his mommy.
My mom just called again. That's why I muted, because the
Okay.
phone gets a little loud. So
Okay.
I need to get going. But one more thing for Robert. Godzilla couldn't exist today because of the oxygen content of the planet. When dinosaurs were alive, there was more oxygen in the air, which allowed them to grow as big as they did.
Temperature of fire changed, too.
Yeah.
It's moon fire.
Well, Robert, check out my podcast. Just search Dragons in Genesis on any podcast app. I go in, I break down a lot of these different Bible stories and show how they are not unique stories. They are not inspired stories. They came from older myths. Genesis chapter 1 came from a Babylonian creation myth. Genesis 7, Noah's Ark, that came from the Epic of Gilgamesh. And it's just one after another. That's what I do.
Or even before that one.
Yeah. Because the Epic of Gilgamesh one, that came from an independent story of Utnapishtim, and that came from a story of Ziusudra, and that came from the story of Atrahasis, and that came from a localized flood on the banks of the Euphrates.
Dragons, we
City
need
of
to
Shuruppa.
talk at some point. We need to talk, really, honestly.
Okay.
We don't have time for me to stick pins in balloons right now, but we do need to talk.
You should take her up on that offer.
Sure.
Okay, because we need to talk.
Okay, guys.
Start.
Hey, thanks, Neil. And I see you've got the True North Talk domain name up there, which is fantastic. Really appreciate you doing that every time.
Been using these in the after parties for now.
It's been great. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks again to my guest who's no longer here with us. If you
make it sound like we hate him.
We did. And if you missed the initial interview, you can go. There's a link to it below, and you can go and check out Derek's interview, and definitely go check out his Myth Vision podcast. Thanks for everyone for hanging out with us. No, Artie, you're not coming back in. I'm ending the stream. He's waiting in the green room. But well, I'll let him back in for the other. But anyway.
Hey, he's here. He made it.
With the whole COVID thing going around right now, remember to be well and be safe, and above all, be kind. And like I always say at the end of these things, and thanks to my wonderful patrons. Now I should include that always. And like I always say at the end of these after parties, like the late great Carl Sagan once said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And we'll see you guys next time.